Ms. Galvan, I'm going to put up some discovery questions and responses that you made and ask you some questions about that. Those will be, Ms. Rimmer, we'll start with 16. It'll be 16, exhibit 16 and 17 to the depositions. All right, are we back to being able to see the documents? Can you see documents back on the screen? Okay. Ms. Galvan, I'm going to ask you to look at this document entitled First Set of Written Interrogatories, First Request for Admission, and First Request for Production to Plaintiff Sonia Galvan. Do you see that?
Yes.
I'm going to submit to you that that was served on your attorneys on January 23rd, 2020. Do you see that where I'm moving the cursor?
Yes.
Do you recall when you first saw this document?
No.
Okay. I'm going to flip over to what will be exhibit 17, which is your answers to interrogatories. I'm going to scroll down quickly. Your answers to admissions and your answers to production. Were you able to see the titles of those documents?
Yes.
And those were answered on or about, well, on February 21st, 2020. Is that correct as far as you know?
Answered?
Answered or submitted?
You provided discovery responses to my questions, to my written discovery questions on February 21st, 2020.
Objection
Correct?
form, counsel. You said they were served February 23rd. How could the responses have been deemed before they were served?
No, you have the month wrong, counsel. It's January.
Thank you.
Do you remember getting answers to Mr. Bent so he could serve them on me in February 2020, Ms. Galvan?
No.
Do you remember answering written discovery in this case at all?
I'm not sure.
Can you go back to the answers?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The scrolling back and forth through the instructions, but if you leave it up on the answers for a minute when you're asking her if she recalls that.
Sure. And it's a little confusing because the way your lawyer did it was to provide answer without having the question written above. So I'm not intentionally being confusing, but the only way to see the question and then the answer is to look at one document and then the other, counsel. So that's the
Objection, prior lawyer.
Prior lawyer, sure.
Okay.
This is your response to requests to our interrogatories. And I'm going to scroll down so you know that I'm on the same document. Do you see where that was served on February 21st, 2020?
Yes.
Do you recall participating in answering interrogatories in this case sometime before February 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Did you meet with Mr. Bentz about it?
I believe so.
Okay. At his office?
I think so.
Okay. Do you know about when you began to answer these interrogatories?
No.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the questions now so we can read some of the questions, then we can go over some of your answers, okay? So that's going to have to switch I have to switch documents to do that. Just to show you that these are still to you. This is the written discovery to you, and counsel was sent out January 23rd to answer your prior question.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I want to go down to interrogatory number 10, which reads, please identify all communications you made with any individual after learning that Richard Galvan had engaged in sexual relations with Hannah Cruz, formerly known as Hannah Lynn, which related to Richard and Hannah. And your answer to that question, as served on me in February, is Debbie Sanchez, Bonnie De La Rosa, and Monica Caban. Do you see that?
I see that.
Now, my understanding of your prior testimony today was that you hadn't talked about this Richard and Hannah incident with anybody ever. Your interrogatory answer from back in February seems to indicate something different. Did you talk with Debbie Sanchez about Richard and Hannah?
It was mentioned.
Who is Debbie Sanchez?
She's a friend of mine.
When did you talk with her about the Richard and Hannah incident?
Recently. I don't even remember.
Did you talk with her about it back in 2007?
Oh, no.
Okay, so it would have been sometime in 2000, was it 2020 or was it 2018 or 19, or do you recall?
I don't recall. It could have been anywhere between 2019 and 2020.
Okay. Do you remember what you told her about it?
No specifics, since I couldn't really talk about it.
Okay. Do you remember anything she said to you about it?
She's just there for me for support.
Okay. But you don't recall her making any statements about what happened between Richard and Hannah one way or the other right now?
No.
We wanted to find out that information. We just have to ask her, correct?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay. Who is Bonnie De La Rosa?
She's a friend of mine.
Okay. When did you talk with her about the Richard and Hannah incident?
I believe that incident happened this year.
Okay. Was it relating to the lawsuit then?
It was actually, I didn't really talk to them about it. They mentioned something to me about it.
Okay. What did they mention to you about it this year?
Objection form,
What's the objection?
hearsay.
It's not an objection for a deposition. What did they mention to you about it?
That they had seen something on Facebook about it.
Okay. What did they say they had seen?
It wasn't Monica, but it was Bonnie, said that she had seen a post that someone was sharing on something that Blaine and Hannah had posted.
Okay. Did you ever go back and try to find what that was?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What did you tell Bonnie De La Rosa about in response, I guess?
Objection form,
I just told her I really couldn't talk about the details of it since the case is ongoing. And that was pretty much it.
Okay. How about Monica Caban? Who is she?
She's a friend of mine.
Okay. When did you have occasion to talk with her about the Richard and Hannah incident?
Well, she was at my house when Bonnie called me. So that's how that
Okay.
happened. Yeah.
I got you. Was she listening to a phone call between you and Bonnie then?
Well, we're all best friends. So,
Okay.
yeah, so she, yeah.
Was that, did that end up being a speakerphone call where everybody could hear?
I don't know if it was speaker or I just turned up the volume. I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember anything Monica said during that conversation?
No, they didn't say much.
Okay. Okay. Other than the time when there was this call with Bonnie and Monica was at your house, have you talked with Monica about this incident between Richard and Hannah?
Yes.
When else did you talk with her about it?
I mean, we've not too much. She just calls to check up on me.
Was that all in the last year that you've talked with her about it?
It's just this year.
This year. Oh,
Year. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall anything she said to you about the incident?
objection
No.
hearsay.
No.
Okay. Do Debbie, Bonnie, and Monica, to your knowledge, have any information about the incident with Richard and Hannah other than what you have talked about in your conversations with them?
No.
Okay. Going back to my questions. I want a request for admission number 2. Do you see that on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Could you read that request for me?
Admit that Richard Galvan worked with defendant Hannah Cruz in 2007.
And what was your answer to that in February of 2020?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, let me go down here and show you. This is your response to defendant's request for admissions. And I'm going to toggle back and forth so you can make sure we're getting the same numbers. This is number 2, and your answer to number 2 is that you admitted, correct?
I'm sorry. Say that again. Can you go back real quick?
Sure. We're looking at request for admission number 2, and I just want you to see that I believe that you have admitted in February 2020 that Richard employed Hannah Cruz in 2007.
Right. I see that I did that.
Okay, and you admitted that in response number 2, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As we sit here today in May, do you believe that response is wrong?
Yes.
What is the basis for your belief that that response is now incorrect?
Well, we don't have any records. She did not work. She did not work for us back then at all. Are we frozen?
So why did you admit that she worked for you in February 2020, Ms. Galvan?
That was an error.
No. Whose error was it?
Our attorneys.
You're telling me that you told your attorneys to deny that admission and then they changed it to admit?
I'm not sure how it happened. It was just an error. I don't know.
Okay. Did you answer these admissions on paper or electronically when you were going and doing your answers for them?
I don't remember.
Do you remember who brought you the questions to answer? Was it Mr. Galvan, or was it lawyers, or whom?
I don't remember.
But your testimony is today that you believe somebody at your then attorney's office got your answer wrong to number 2.
Yes.
Because you instructed them to deny that one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there anyone, Ms. Galvan, other than your attorneys who would be able to back up what you say about the error on response to number 2?
I'm not sure.
Are you willing to waive attorney-client privilege so that I may ask your prior attorney if they made a mistake on that one and put the wrong answer?
Yes.
To that extent only, Mr. Chapman, and specifically with regard to admission number 2.
I understand. That's all I'm asking for. With respect to request for admission number 3, it reads, admit that You assisted with the youth group at Northway Bible Church in Harlingen, Texas. Do you see that request for admission?
I do.
And your answer, I'm going to toggle back over to number 3, is admit.
Right. We admit, yes.
Do you admit that today that you assisted with the youth group?
We assisted with coordinating for mission trips, fundraisers, things of that nature.
Okay, I'm just talking about you, Sonia Galvan, not your husband. Do you admit that you assisted with the youth group at Northway Bible Church?
Yes, in regards to the mission trips and just very limited.
Okay. Request to admissions number 4. Admit that you hired Hannah Cruz, formerly known as Hannah Lynn, to babysit your children. Do you see that number?
I do see that.
Okay. And in your response in February is you admit that Hannah Cruz babysit your children.
Unable to admit or deny that Hannah Cruz was hired.
You still agree with me today that Hannah Cruz babysit your children, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And as to far as whether or not hired, is I understand your qualification there. You're not a legal expert to know whether she was officially hired or not. I get that. Is that so? That response still holds today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there something about number 9 that you didn't understand back in February? Let's go on.
Because it says sexual relations.
Okay.
One time.
So this goes back to the idea that if the S wasn't on there and it said sexual relation, you would admit to number 9, correct?
Yeah, just one act, one
Gotcha.
time. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna scroll on down. Number 13 concerns Mr. Galvan and a prostitute. You admitted to that. You don't have any reason to change your answer today on that one, do you?
No.
Do you know when you learned about that as we sit here today?
I'm sorry, can you go back to the question real quick?
Sure.
Which one is that one? What number is that one?
13.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I don't remember when I found out.
Okay. If the records that I showed to Mr. Galvan yesterday, which I'm not trying to hide from you, if those are related to 1992, that would be before you even met Mr. Galvan, correct?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chapman. Which admission are you asking about?
13.
13 is with regard to intentional infliction of emotional distress?
No, I'm on the admissions.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
It's a simple question. You didn't meet Mr. Galvan before 1992, did you?
No.
Okay. That's all I'm asking for. Now, with regard to requests for production, when you received these in January or sometime before you answered them in February 21st, 2020, did you understand that these were requests for documents?
Yes.
Did you yourself make any effort to locate any documents that were requested in our request for production?
I don't have any documents, diaries, journals. copies of phone bills. No, I don't have any of those.
Okay. Did you spend any amount of time attempting to locate any of the documents described in the request for production?
There are none.
No, I know, I understand that's what you're saying now. I'm asking you how much time you took to determine that.
How long did it take me to determine
That you had no documents in response to any request for production.
Objection form. The question was, how much time did you spend getting the document?
Objection sidebar and counsel. There's no need to yell.
I already knew because there were none. There was none.
Okay. It took you made answers to these requests for production. And my question to you is simply, how much time did you personally spend determining, as you say now, that you have no documents responsive to any of these requests?
0.
Okay. So with respect to 5, 6, and 7, which regards medical or medical billing records documenting treatment you are claiming is related to this lawsuit. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you know why your response is that you will make those documents available for review?
No.
Okay. Is that an error?
I'm not really sure. No.
Are there any medical or medical billing records related to this case that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Let me pull up. Give me 1 second. Hold on just a second. I'm looking for my numbered exhibits. Give me just 1 second. I apologize, guys. I lost them in a directory here. Back to this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Ms. Galvan, have you ever seen what's Exhibit 12 to the depositions, which is a newspaper article from the Valley Morning Star?
I saw it yesterday.
Okay. Was yesterday the first time you'd ever seen it?
Yeah, I don't recall. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know have any information about how Daisy Martinez with the Morning Valley Star determined that Mr. Galvan was the youth pastor for Northway Bible Church?
I don't know.
Do you recall your husband ever giving a quote to the paper in the capacity of youth pastor?
No.
If you look to the last paragraph of this article that I've pulled up at the bottom of the screen, it says Sonia Galvan, also a youth pastor at the church, said she hopes that her youth group can teach people in Africa that they don't necessarily need all the material things that other people may have, and that they only need to have faith. Do you remember making that statement?
Objection, counsel. We can't see the bottom of the screen. It's cut off.
Well, just tell me. That's fine. I'm not trying to do that. Where's the last thing that you can see on this screen, Miss?
To have, and then faith, I guess, is we can't see that last sentence. But no, I do not recall.
Okay.
No.
Blow this up. The quality of this one's not as good. Do you recall ever seeing this article regarding that same project, quoting Mr. Galvan, or stating that he was the youth pastor?
I don't recall, no.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Galvan took any action to have those articles removed from the newspaper's websites?
No.
Do you know anything about the recovery? I think he called it a recovery firm that was hired with respect to internet search optimization, internet search engine results?
No.
Okay. Have you yourself undertaken any efforts to remove internet search results or articles from the internet about yourself and Mr. Galvan concerning the Northway Bible Church or this case?
No.
Have you asked anybody else to do that on your behalf?
No.
Okay. 1 second. This is an email that I showed your husband yesterday from a Pastor Kelly Rumfield that he sent to my client on May 13th after Mr. Galvan supplemented discovery responses.
Right.
Do you know why Kelly Rumfield, pastor of the Northway Bible Church, would state in an email that Richard Galvan was the acknowledged youth leader and minister?
I'm not sure, but I know that he and Starla are cousins.
You're saying that that's incorrect.
That's correct.
And despite the pastor from that church saying that Richard Galvan led and was the minister for the youth group back in 2007, your opinion is that that's not correct.
That's correct.
All right. These are the documents I showed Mr. Galvan yesterday about the 1992 incident. Just read that paragraph that starts with I, Claude Ricks, please.
Okay.
Before yesterday, had you ever heard that account of the 1992 incident?
Objection form. answer.
Oh, I had heard about it. You mentioned it maybe, but I have never seen any of these documents.
Okay. The thing says that Mr. Galvan agreed to accept a fee and place his mouth in the genitals of Eve Leach. You didn't know any details about that at all.
No,
In Mr. Galvan's testimony yesterday, I asked him if the police informant, to his knowledge, was a man or a woman. He said he did not know or do not recall. You don't have any information about that one way or the other, do you?
no, I don't.
Do you know anything about, I put up a document now, which I'll submit to you as a court clerk summary of a case that you and your husband filed against Larry Peace and others. Do you know anything about this lawsuit?
I do not recall.
Do you know what it was about at all?
I don't.
Do you recall whether this lawsuit involved you and your husband going and getting a temporary restraining order?
I do not recall. I don't know.
Do you recall executing any affidavits in support of that lawsuit,
No,
similar to what you executed in this case?
no.
Okay. Do you recall any events wherein your husband had asked Peyton Lynn to put on a wedding ring so she could go into a bar underage? Do you know anything about that?
No,
Okay. Do you know about any incidents between your husband and any other young women during the time y'all been married?
no.
Miss Galvan, I'm gonna take a couple of minutes. Let's take like 5 minutes. Actually, it'll probably be more like 10, Angela. 5 to 10. I'm going to go over my notes. I don't think I have very few. Excuse me, I have very few, if any, more questions. I want to go through my notes and make sure, and we'll come back here and finish this up. Okay.
For the record, it's 2:14.
All right, Ms. Galvan, I appreciate your patience and sitting for my questions today. We talked a lot about this lawsuit today, and you were present for a lot of the discussion about it yesterday. Knowing what you know about the lawsuit now, on this, as we sit here today, do you have any regret for filing this lawsuit against my clients, Blaine and Hannah Cruz?
Mm, I don't know if I have regret, but I don't know. That's a difficult question.
If we took the events of 2018 into 2020, would you support filing the same lawsuit today that you filed in 2018?
Objection form.
No,
Why not?
Objection form.
well, can I answer? Oh, well, because of the phone call that Blaine had initially made, and that was false. It was not true what he was saying, you know, about Hannah being seduced and manipulated, and the threats that he made towards, you know, my family.
And if you still had any avenue to seek an injunction against my clients today in this court case, would you do it?
Yes.
All right, I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Ms. Galvan, So we've covered some of your history throughout Mr. Chapman's direct examination. But I believe there were some things that we may have left out. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
3.
And what are their names and ages, please?
Eliana, 15, Elijah, 14, and Esteban, 8.
Okay. So during the depositions yesterday and today, when it's been explained that one child was taken out of school and moved where the child's siblings were, explain to me which of the children that was?
Elijah,
And he is the, which one?
14-year-old.
Okay, the middle child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your eldest and your youngest children are both at the same school, but your middle child was not at that same school.
That's correct.
Okay. And after the phone calls in or about October of 2018, you had an occasion to move the middle child's school to where his siblings were.
That's correct.
Objection form.
And with regard to Mr. Chapman's questions earlier today, just a short time ago, when he inquired of you whether you could think of anyone who could corroborate your assertion that Hannah Cruz was never employed by Orbit Broadband, have you had an occasion to think of anybody who in fact might be able to corroborate that, since you initially answered you didn't recall?
There are probably 2 people that would know, and that would be Myra and Francisco.
Okay, and let's go over that. So with regard to those names, do you recall a last name for Francisco?
I believe it's Barrientos.
Okay. And what was Francisco Barrientos' position with Orbit Broadband in or around 2007?
He was IT. He was our IT guy.
Okay. And do you recall what period of time he was employed by Orbit Broadband?
Maybe about a year or so.
Okay. And with regard to the name Myra, do you recall Myra's last name?
No, I don't.
Okay. What was Myra's responsibilities or capacities at Orbit Broadband?
She was like an office manager.
Okay. And what period of time was she the office manager, if you recall?
I don't recall the exact time. Could have been a year or so, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't recall.
And and do you remember where Myra was from? What town?
I don't remember. Mid-Valley, maybe west of Ordana. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. And in 2007, did you ever have an occasion to go by the office and see Hannah and Richard together in any type of suggestive manner?
No.
Okay. Prior to August or September of 2007, did you have any occasion to be concerned about Richard and adultery?
No.
At that time in August of 2007, were you acquainted with who was Hannah Lynn's boyfriend?
I knew she had a boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did she come and confide in you regarding that boyfriend or her relationship with that boyfriend?
No.
Okay. Do you recall that boyfriend's name?
I think his name might have been Jamie, maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. All right. And this was prior to any alleged sexual incident with Richard Galvan, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Objection form.
Do you recall whether do you recall at any point or any time in August 2007 Hannah Lynn coming to Orbit Broadband distraught and traumatized over a breakup?
No.
Did Hannah Lynn confide in you regarding her romantic involvements back in 2007?
No.
To your knowledge, had Hannah Lynn had boyfriends prior to the alleged one she broke up with?
Yes.
Are you acquainted with anyone other? Are you acquainted with any of Hannah Lynn's boyfriends from in or around 2007 or subsequent years?
Objection form.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge regarding any of Hannah Lynn's boyfriends' names in 2007 or after?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. And I'm not specifying back in 07. I'm saying now. Even now, do you have any knowledge regarding any of her boyfriends' names from that time period?
Objection form.
I'm trying to remember. I think she dated someone named Michael one time.
Okay. And would that have been prior to the alleged event with Richard Galvan or after?
It was
Objection form.
It was prior, for my prior.
Okay. And
Ms. Galvan, I know we're trying to do this via video conference, counsel, but it's very clear that Ms. Galvan appears to be looking down at whatever it is that you're reading, and that is leading without leading. So I'm going to object to any attempted reading of your question or your notes for direct examination while y'all are both sitting 1 foot apart.
how else do you want me to do it since you want us both on the screen, Mr. Chapman? I took notes during your direct, and that's what I'm going to use for my cross.
This is actually direct for you. I'm going to ask that you just distance yourself. I don't need to see you for your directive, Ms. Galvan. Just move away where she cannot see your notes.
No problem.
How
about if I'm back here?
That's great.
Is that okay?
That's great.
That way I'm behind her? Ms. Galvan, sometimes when people are redoing or making corrections to documents, they do something called a red line or a blue line on the document, and that's how you know there are changes made. Are you aware of that?
Ask that again.
Sometimes when people make changes to a document, like they have one document and then they're making changes to it in order to produce another document, they red line the changes or blue line the change. Wait until I'm done, please.
Okay, sorry.
They red line the changes or they blue line the changes so that then it pops and you can readily see the difference between one document and another and what was changed. You're aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall ever seeing anything like that from your prior counsel of record between the initial original petition, the initial pleading in this matter, and the first amended original petition?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And just to be very specific, do you recall going to the office of Travis Bentz regarding this lawsuit?
Yes.
How many times do you specifically recall going to the office of Travis Bentz with regard to this lawsuit?
Maybe like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. And other than recalling the number of times, do you specifically recall what you covered on the couple of times that you went to the office?
Well, I do remember the initial conversation from Blaine when I had to give my statement, I guess, of what happened. And I don't remember the other 2 times. It's just.
Okay. And with regard to the Northway, I think it's Northway Church of Harlingen, the church that took the missionary trips from 07. What's the name of that church?
Northway Bible Church.
Northway Bible Church. With regard to the Northway Bible Church, do you recall that the youth group was specifically called the Generation Impact Youth Group?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you recall any other members of the Generation Impact Youth Group from 07 by name? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you recall by name from the youth group of the Northway Bible Church in 07?
There was Delaney.
Is that a first name or a last name?
It's a first name, Delaney. I remember, gosh, there were so many kids.
Was Michael Garcia a member of the Northway Bible Church Youth Group in 2007?
Yes, he went.
Was Michael Garcia a member of the youth group for the church in 07 when Hannah Cruz was a member?
Yes.
Do you recall anyone else that might contradict Pastor Kelly that you or Richard were youth pastors?
Yes.
Who?
Michael.
And who else besides Michael Garcia? Who is Oscar?
He's a friend of ours.
Give me a last name, please.
Oscar Brooks.
Okay. How is Oscar Brooks, or how was Oscar Brooks related to the Northway Bible Church back in 07?
He just occasionally comes and he preaches at the church.
Okay,
he's a missionary.
He's a missionary and he's a pastor?
He might be.
Okay.
I don't know if he is a pastor, but he is a missionary at the church.
And has he been ever since 07?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's your belief that he would corroborate that neither you nor Richard were youth ministers?
I think so.
Have you
Objection form.
Have you ever counseled any youth?
No, we have never counseled.
No, just you. This is directed only to you, please.
Oh, okay.
So again, directed to you.
Okay.
Have you personally ever counseled any youth?
No.
To your knowledge, has Richard ever counseled any youth?
No.
To your knowledge, has Richard ever counseled Hannah Lynn?
No.
Richard made it quite clear in his deposition answers yesterday that he did not recall any fundraising activities for Uganda. Do you recall any Northway Bible Church's fundraising efforts for Uganda?
I don't remember the Uganda.
Okay.
Going to Uganda.
Who is Leslie Woodard?
She was a part of the youth group.
Okay. So in one of those exhibits that Mr. Chapman showed,
Mhm.
the one with the picture over to the left, I believe the caption indicates it's Leslie Woodard. Leslie Woodard would have been a member of the Northway Bible Church's youth group in 07?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, have you had a chance to talk to any of the youth that were in the Northway Bible Church's youth group in 07? Have you had an occasion to talk to any of those youth since the filing of this lawsuit in 2018?
No.
Do you know whether Richard has?
No.
Ms. Galvan, subsequent to the event complained of, and I'll specify for the record that is the one act of sexual intercourse between Richard Galvan and Hannah Cruz in or about August of 2007. Subsequent to that, I'd like to go through the history of yours and your family's involvement with Miss Hannah Cruz, if you don't mind. So subsequent to August of 2007, I believe there was some testimony elicited by Mr. Chapman with regard to a missionary trip in 08.
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, that missionary trip was to where?
Nicaragua.
Okay. That's South or Central America, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, South America. And you did not go on that trip, correct?
No, I did not go.
But Richard Galvan went and Hannah Cruz went among with other youth and adults, correct?
That's correct.
Did Hannah Lynn's parents go on that trip to your knowledge?
Not that I recall. No.
Did her sister Peyton go on that trip to your knowledge?
I believe she did.
Okay. And was there any allegation about inappropriateness or improper conduct on Richard's part or with Hannah Galvan, Hannah Cruz, Hannah Lynn?
No.
Any allegation about inappropriate conduct between Richard Galvan and Peyton Lynn?
No.
Okay. And then subsequent to that and subsequent to August of 07, did Hannah Lynn continue visiting the offices of Orbit Broadband?
Ask that again?
Subsequent to August of 07, did Hannah Lynn continue visiting from time to time the offices of Orbit Broadband?
Yeah.
Objection form.
Okay. And during any of those times, did you witness Miss Lynn evidencing any discomfort or embarrassment or intimidation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Or fear?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. And after or can you think of anything between August of 07 and the Nicaragua missionary group that would have been summer of 08? Were there any other social contacts with Hannah Lynn?
From 2007 to 2008.
Summer. Right, from August of 07,
Mm-hmm.
when the alleged intercourse occurred to summer of '08, when the Nicaragua trip occurred, were there any intervening contacts?
Like we went to church together. We
And
were
that
still
was
at church
how
together.
often? Church.
Every Sunday,
Okay, weekly, once a week.
weekly, once a week.
Okay. Anything else?
Sometimes after church on Sundays, although I don't know if it was from the, we would go eat with the family, after church. Groups of us would go together to go
Okay.
eat lunch after church.
Okay. Any fundraising activities in anticipation of the Nicaragua summer trip?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we did. We had barbecues, to fundraise for the Nicaragua trip. Maybe a car wash to fundraise for the Nicaragua trip.
Okay. Any hint of any problem between Hannah Lynn and Richard Galvan?
No.
Any hint of any trauma she was suffering due or attributable to him?
No.
After the Nicaragua trip, what was your continued contact or your family's continued contact with Hannah Lynn?
Afterwards, we went to church. We continued to do, I guess, just socializing with them. I know that when she got married, I helped host a bridal shower for her. I went to a lingerie shower. We went to the wedding. I know that when she was in college, she came down and we shot a commercial together.
Okay, explain that to me. Approximately when she was in college, did she come down to shoot a commercial?
She might have been maybe like a sophomore in college, maybe a junior. I'm not sure when. And we asked if she would, shoot a commercial with us. And she did. She came over. We all drove to Brownsville to the station. We shot a commercial together, and then we all went and ate lunch afterwards. And then that was it.
And again, no hint of any fear on her part with regard to Richard.
No, she was very comfortable around us, smiling, laughing, just seemed like herself. I don't know. She was fine. She was fine. Didn't seem threatened. She didn't seem uncomfortable, or she was fearful, or she was intimidated. She didn't seem anything like that.
And are you aware that Blaine Cruz has caused videos to be posted on YouTube regarding the allegations in this lawsuit?
Yes, I am aware.
Have you yourself looked at that video?
I have not looked at that video.
Are you aware if Blaine Cruz has posted the allegations asserted in this lawsuit on other internet forums, websites, posts?
Yes.
Have you personally reviewed those posts or websites?
No, I haven't.
Mr. Chapman repeatedly inquired of you, Ms. Galvan, whether you were mortified and embarrassed that Richard had sex with Hannah in 2007. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Objection form.
What are your feelings with regard to that event?
Well, I know that Richard did not use his position or any type of position that he had to manipulate or to seduce Hannah. He's regretful, remorseful. He's made a very bad decision, but he and I have, worked on our marriage and, through counseling, and, we've healed. And it's,
with regard to Hannah Cruz's allegation that she had a subsequent conversation with you regarding the incident and claimed that you told her everything was okay. What do you recall from that conversation, if anything?
Objection form.
I recall Hannah calling me, and she mentioned that she didn't know why this was happening. I told her that everything was going to be okay, and there were no details. There was no discussion about what happened, and
when exactly did this occur, to the best of your knowledge, that she called you and had this conversation?
I believe it might have been. It was shortly after the incident, so it could have been a week to 2 weeks. I don't exactly recall.
And you're specifying in or about August 2007.
That's correct.
And when you're saying there were no details relayed, how did you know she was referring to the incident if there were no details relayed?
Well, can you say that again?
Okay, so it's your testimony that Hannah Cruz, then known as Hannah Lynn, called you and said, and I quote, "I don't know why this is happening." And your response to that was, and I quote, "It's okay, everything's okay." Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So in her statement, "I don't know why this is happening," without any specificity as to what this is in quotation marks, how did you know she was referring to the act of sexual intercourse between she and Richard Galvan?
Because Richard had mentioned it to me.
All right. And okay. Do you recall how Hannah Lynn obtained her job at the news station?
I believe Richard helped her get that job.
When would that have been, in or about? And do you recall what news station it was?
It was after she graduated from college, and I believe it was Channel 4.
Okay, so even up to and after graduation college, she was friendly enough in order to get an introduction from Richard to a career.
That's right.
I believe you said that you attended some pre-wedding shower activities?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any occasion to be informed or to learn through those pre-wedding shower activities that Blaine Cruz was a virgin prior to their marriage?
I believe at the lingerie shower, Hannah had mentioned something in regards to that.
Okay.
Objection form. Objection to response as well.
Okay. Did you actually hear this, or was it relayed to you?
I was there, so I heard her say that.
Okay. And at that time, was there any conversation about her not being a virgin?
No.
Okay. Do you have any reason to know when she first told Blaine Cruz that she was not a virgin?
No.
Okay. Do you know anything about their breakup or when Blaine Cruz and Hannah Cruz separated?
Objection form.
Just through I don't have any details, but something that she posted on a blog or something.
Okay. Does Hannah Cruz, also sometimes known and informally known as Hannah Lynn, have an occasion to be writing on any blogs?
Yes.
For the record, what are her blog or blogs called?
I believe one might be something like Healthier Hannah,
Okay.
maybe. And then she may have another one like Healthier, Happier, something like that, Hannah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you have any knowledge regarding, do you have any knowledge regarding any of Hannah Cruz's boyfriends committing suicide?
Yes.
Who committed suicide?
A young man named JJ.
And who was JJ other than her boyfriend, if you know?
Objection form.
I didn't know him personally, but I know he was a young man that her family took in and lived with them at the house.
Okay, so this is someone that was not related to her family that wound up living in her family's home
Yes.
at the same time she lived in her family's home?
Yes.
And this is a young man that was at or near her in age?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And were they romantically involved?
Yes.
Okay. And this individual committed suicide?
Yes.
Do you know if Hannah Lynn was intimate with this individual before his suicide?
I believe so.
Do you know when this individual committed suicide?
I don't know if it was, I know she was in college, maybe sometime around 2010 or so.
Have you read Hannah's blogs?
No, not a long time ago, but not recently.
Are you aware that Hannah Cruz has referred to herself as a wild teenager?
Yes.
What, if you know, would constitute her being a wild teenager?
Objection form.
Her being, maybe drinking, promiscuous, flirty.
She consumed alcoholic beverages as a minor?
That I'm not aware.
Objection form.
Okay, when you said drinking, what were you referencing?
Like maybe during her college years.
Oh, okay. You understand, my question was specifically asking about when she was 17.
Oh, 17. Oh, okay. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Ms. Galvan, are you aware what amount of money Blaine Cruz and Hannah Cruz are seeking in this matter with regard to attorney's fees?
No, I'm not.
Are you aware what amount of money Blaine Cruz and Hannah Cruz are seeking from you with regard to costs or expenses suffered?
No.
Are you aware of what amount of money Blaine or Hannah Cruz are seeking from you for sanctions?
No.
Ms. Galvan, do you agree that your husband used his position with the church in order to coerce or manipulate Hannah Cruz into having sex in August of '07?
Objection form.
Absolutely not. He didn't have a position, a title.
And did he ever manipulate or coerce her into having sex?
No.
Objection form.
Do you agree with Ms. Cruz's assertion that she's been traumatized by that event ever since '07?
Objection form.
It didn't seem as though she was traumatized.
Prior to October of 2018, had it ever been put to you that Hannah Cruz was traumatized due to this August 2007 event?
No.
Objection form.
Have you had an occasion since this litigation began to communicate with Starla Lynn regarding the allegations in this lawsuit?
Ask that again.
Have you had an occasion since this litigation began to communicate with Starla Lynn regarding the allegations in this lawsuit?
Yes.
Did you reach out to her or did she reach out to you?
I reached out to her.
When was that?
Maybe about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. I don't remember the exact date.
How exactly did you reach out to Starla Lynn?
I text her.
Okay, so you have the phone number of Starla Lynn, or was this by yeah, phone number, I guess, right?
Yeah, I acquired her phone number.
You just recently acquired it, or you've had it?
I recently acquired it.
How did you acquire her phone number?
Through a friend.
Okay, and so you texted her. What did you text her?
Something along the lines like, Starla, hi, this is Sonia. Wanted to know if maybe we could meet and talk. I think that's what I said at first.
Okay. Anything else that you recall that you said before she replied?
No, I think that might have been it.
Okay. And did she reply?
She did.
What did she reply?
She said something along the lines like, "Oh, Sonia, the Sonia I remember from many years ago. Yes, when and where?" She said, "Yes, when and where?" And then she said, "Well, I would be afraid to say something or do something that was wrong. I need to pray about it. I'm going to take it to God and talk to Hannah and Blaine."
Talk to him and Blaine?
Hannah and Blaine.
Hannah and Blaine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And subsequent to that, did you have any further communication with Starla Lynn?
That was, I think I had also, can I go back and add something?
Certainly.
Okay. So I think that, I'm not sure when in the text, I don't know if it was after she responded. I responded with, being really broken about this and wanting to, there being a lot of hate and anger and wanting to be able to have some type of healing over this. So that's what I had responded as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then after that, what happened?
Then about several hours later, I received a text.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what did that text say?
Pretty much all the allegations which Blaine and Hannah had said about, Richard, them, Hannah being under our care and Richard manipulating and seducing her, and going on to mention, it was a very long text.
Do you have any reason to doubt whether Starla actually authored that last text?
I'm not sure if she did.
Objection form.
Why do you doubt that Starla was the author of the last text?
Objection form.
I believe that when she consulted with Hannah and Blaine, that maybe Hannah might have been the one who's maybe helped write, change, because everything changed. So that when she first responded to me in that text, Starla's, the way she responded was different than the text that came in afterwards. So it just was different.
Pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Galvan, we're going to have some more questions. With respect to the direct examination, you just asked questions by your own lawyer at Joel's offices down in South Texas. Did you read any of her notes or anything in writing while you were answering those questions?
I was not reading her notes.
Okay. With respect to the questions that she asked you about things that may have occurred at the offices of Orbit Broadband, do you remember those questions?
Yes.
2007, how many days a week did you go to the offices of Broadband, offices of Orbit Broadband on a given week?
Maybe like 3-4 days a week.
How long did you stay?
I don't recall. A few hours maybe.
Was that in the morning or the afternoons?
At different times, depending on the day, both,
Did you have a set schedule?
No, I didn't.
Did you have a set office that was yours?
Yes.
Did Richard have an office that was his?
Yes.
Where was that in relation to the front door?
Towards the back.
Was your office, or where you worked, where you went in to do your work at Orbit Broadband, was that between the front door and Richard's office?
Yes.
Did you ever have an occasion in 2007 to be there when Hannah Lynn was there?
I don't
Is that a
recall.
yes? Okay. You don't recall one way or the other?
I don't recall.
Did you ever have an occasion to see Hannah Lynn in Richard's office by herself with Richard?
No.
You understand your husband has testified that events occurred in his office when they were alone. You were here yesterday for that.
Yes.
You don't have any way to back that up one way or the other, do you?
No.
With respect to your husband's account of events, your prior testimony before the direct was that you had no other information about the events other than what your husband had told you. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
What happened between when I asked you that question and when counsel asked you questions a few minutes ago that allowed you to identify people that were at the office that you think would verify things relating to Hannah and Richard? What information did you review?
I don't have any information here. I was just trying to, I just remembered.
Okay. So you sat through a full day of Richard's depot and up to that point in time in your depot, and you did not remember. But after a break, you came back and remembered people that you think would verify something different than what you testified to before I was done with you the first time on cross-examination. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your testimony is you just remembered.
Yeah, I just remembered.
Do you have any contact information for Francisco Barrientos?
I can't say that again?
Do you have any contact information for Francisco Barrientos? Ma'am?
For me?
Yeah, do you have any contact information for
Oh,
Francisco?
no, I said no. I'm sorry. I thought you heard me.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Oh,
you.
yeah. No.
Do you know any way,
No.
any way that information could be found?
No, because we don't have any records.
So you don't have any way to know what Francisco Barrientos knows or one way or the other?
No, I don't.
Do you have any contact information for Myra, your former office manager?
No, I don't.
Do you have any business records that would show her last name?
I don't.
You don't have any way to get a hold of her or even to find out a way to get a hold of her, do you?
I don't, because I don't remember her last name.
And your business has kept no records, correct?
That's correct.
So there's no way to know what she would know about this, the events related to this lawsuit one way or the other then, is there?
No.
With respect to Ms. Hannah Cruz, I asked you if you'd had any conversations with her about the events with Richard, and your answer to me was no. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I think.
You changed your testimony upon direct examination by counsel. Why did you change it?
Objection form.
Why did you change your testimony?
I had forgotten about that conversation.
So you sat through a full day of deposition by Richard Galvan, and you sat through up to that point in your deposition, and you had not remembered a conversation with Hannah Cruz, the defendant in this case. And then after I passed you as a witness, you had an occasion to finally remember that upon questions from counsel. Is that correct?
It was a very short conversation. From what I can recall, I forgot.
And that occurred 1 to 2 weeks after the incident between Richard and Hannah.
Yeah, it could have been. It's so long ago, I don't remember. Shortly after.
Shortly after the incident between Richard and Hannah.
Yes.
And you say Hannah said something along the lines that you don't know why she doesn't know why this is happening.
Right.
What did you say in response?
But I think what I had said, I think I said it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It was very, it was very quick. Like I had actually forgotten about it.
Until just today?
Yeah.
Okay. Your testimony of counsel's question was that you knew this was about Hannah's sexual incident with Richard because Richard had admitted it. That was your answer to counsel a few minutes ago, correct?
Yes.
You understand that directly contradicts your sworn discovery answers in this case?
No.
Okay. Go back here. Request for admissions number 6. That request for admission reads, admit that you were aware of the fact that Richard Galvan had sex with Hannah Cruz, formerly known as Hannah Lynn, prior to the filing of this lawsuit. Do you see that admission?
Okay, I see that.
Your response to that admission that has not been modified in this lawsuit says, admit I learned in 2018. Your prior testimony to me was that you first learned of the identity that Richard had had sex with Hannah in 2018, and then in 2007 you only knew that he had committed some act of infidelity. Are you now changing that testimony?
Objection. Form.
Are you now changing that testimony?
No, I always knew. He told me.
He told you that he had sex with Hannah in 2007.
Yes.
Why did you say that you learned for the first time in 2018 in your sworn discovery responses?
I don't know. That was an error.
Whose error was that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
So your testimony now, as of 3:19 p.m. in your deposition, is that you knew the identity of who Richard had been unfaithful with back in 2007, and you knew that to be Hannah Cruz. That's
Yes.
your testimony now.
Yes.
Why didn't you talk to Hannah Cruz about it?
We didn't talk about it. Just like her mom didn't talk about it. Just like her dad. We just didn't talk about it.
You weren't concerned about a mission trip in 2018 that you didn't go on and they both did?
No, not in 2008. No.
2008, excuse me.
Mhm.
You think there are any other conversations with Hannah Cruz that you're going to remember in the next few minutes?
No.
Do the identities of Hannah Cruz's boyfriends from high school or subsequent college boyfriends have any relevance to this case at all?
I believe they do.
In what way?
I believe that well, she alleges that she was traumatized, and I don't believe that she was. And I think she's had other relationships, but I know she had other relationships prior to.
You don't know that she had them prior to her incident with Richard. You don't know that, do you?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that?
I don't know. I do. I guess.
You don't have any facts that you can tell me right now to back up your assertion that you know that, do you?
Objection form.
No, not that I recall. No.
So you don't know that, correct?
Okay, that's correct.
You're guessing, correct?
I'm not guessing. It's just my opinion, I guess.
An opinion that's not based on any fact that you can tell me today, correct?
Objection form.
No.
No facts, correct?
Yeah.
Objection form.
I don't know.
You understand that you and your husband have no claims for any affirmative relief left in this lawsuit. You understand that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that Hannah Lynn's or excuse me, Hannah Cruz's affidavit, formerly Hannah Lynn, has been on file with the court in this case since February of 2019.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And you understand that both you and your husband have had a chance every single day since that time to file an affidavit challenging the assertions made by Hannah Cruz in her affidavit. You understand that, don't you?
Yes.
Nothing prevented you from giving your account of things or from Richard giving his account of things that are different from Hannah Cruz, and as this case went through motion practice and then through the Court of Appeals and then back. Did it?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Nothing prevented you. Yeah, nothing prevented you from responding, filing a responsive affidavit, did it?
Just, I guess, not good attorney advice, bad attorney advice.
You were asked by your counsel about red line or blue line copies of documents in this case. Do you remember that question?
Yes, I do.
And she specifically the time of the filing of the original petition and the first amended petition. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you recall receiving any draft documents from your counsel in that time period?
Yeah, I'm not aware.
Did you see any drafts? You don't know?
I don't recall.
Your counsel asked you about going to Travis Bentz's office. Do you remember that?
I did.
And she asked you on the record about the first time you went to Travis Bentz's office. Do you remember that?
Objection form.
Okay. Do you remember that questioning?
I remember the question.
And your answer was about talking to Travis about the things that were going to go into your lawsuit. Do you remember that answer?
I'm sorry, say that again? My answer was what?
You said something about talking to Travis. She asked you, what do you talk about with Travis? And you said something about going to tell him about the things in your statement. Do you remember
Objection
that?
form. I never inquired substance.
Do you remember that statement?
No.
Madam Reporter, if you would, please do a word search for Travis Bentz and find a question posed by Ms. Nix regarding Ms. Galvan's visit to the office of Travis Bentz, please.
I don't have that capability right now.
Okay. You can't find that question?
It'll take me some time.
Okay. Well, we'll proceed. We'll proceed. Ms. Galvan, there's all likelihood in the world that your attorney has waived attorney-client privilege regarding your visit with Mr. Bentz, and I will visit with you about that later if I so decide to do so. We'll reserve that for later. Reserve that examination for later, and I will pass the witness.
No further questions.
Do you want this transcribed?
No, but I want to know what our record time is before we go off record.
Okay, well. But Mr. Chapman, you want it transcribed and you want to order a copy? Okay.
Yes.
I am requesting a copy of the videotape, please.
Okay, Zach, you got that?
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Chapman, do you have a standing order with us for video?
I do now.
Okay. Did y'all want just the video, or did you want it synced?
I'm sorry?
Did the parties want just the video, or did y'all want it synced?
Okay, you're going to have to excuse my
That's an extra service where they line up the written answers with the video.
You sync the video and the deposition.
Need to be heard, please, since I'm being asked the question. Okay, so forgive my inexperience. I don't know what you're referring to sync it to. But now that it's been explained, since I'm not asking for the written transcript, then no, I don't want it synced to something I'm not getting. I just want the video.
Okay. And Mr. Chapman, did you want it synced?
Sure.
Ms. Nix, you wanted time on the record?
Yes.
Time on the record for Mr. Chapman was 3 hours, 32 minutes. Time on record for you is 41 minutes.
And also for the record, Ms. Zimmer, because he's going to try, because Mr. Chapman has stated he's going to try to make an argument regarding waiver, I do want that portion of the transcript that he's inquired about, where he maintains I inquired as to substance and I only inquired as to number of visits. I do want that limited portion of the written transcript. If you have any questions regarding that, please advise me.
You can't
Okay.
order a piece of a transcript.
I disagree, Mr. Chapman, but I'm
I
ready
guess
to
that's up-
hear
I guess
that
that's up-
from the court reporter.
I guess
Have a
that's up to
nice
her.
day. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you.
Let us know if you need anything.
Ms. Rimmer,
Yes, sir.
all that ridiculousness aside, I appreciate your sticking in with us. I am going to want the video from yesterday as well now.
Okay, you got that, Zach?
Just to communicate that to whoever that was. Give me videos for both. I apologize for it's not my doing, but I hate to see a court reporter being thrust into the fray like that, and I certainly have no intention of doing that to you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Mr.
And-
Chapman, do you have anything that you need from me?
No, and I'm going to need that both these on a rush order now, obviously. So,
So by when?
was it the 15th, end of May?
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
You have a great day, Mr. Chapman. Let us know if you need anything.